What's going on, everybody? Applersky here, back with another video, and this one I've been waiting quite a while to kind of put together a video about it that I felt was worthy, and a little bit different than it's not a review. What we're gonna be talking about here is what makes Silent Hill 2 special and the best way to experience it. Now, first of all, I've been gaming since I was 4 years old, so I'm 39 now. So this game, it came out at a time where I was playing every game pretty much. I had played Silent Hill 1, played Silent Hill 2. I played the whole series, except for 4, which I need to go back to. I don't know what happened there. I remember starting playing it, but something about I couldn't get into it really. But I do need to go back to that. But anyways, Silent Hill 2 is a very special game, as you may know. And the remake is, for one, a huge accomplishment from the team. I know that, this, when it got announced, everybody was skeptical. But first off, I just want to kind of touch on like the best way to experience this game. If you have, the luxury of it, is if you've never played it, would be the first way. But for those of you that had played it before, like myself, don't replay the original before you play this if you haven't played it yet. And for those of you that have played the remake, you might want to stick around because I have some other interesting topics. So much so that I had to change the title and theme of this video. At first, I was gonna have it be kind of like the best way to experience it. But then as I thought more and more about it, I wanted to get more in depth into why it's such a special game. Even, 20 years later. So, first of all, I'll go over my kind of like history with this entry itself. I only played it one time, in 2002, and I did finish it. And I really couldn't remember anything other than like James's iconic look, the creepy atmosphere, the fog, the town, the gruesome looking enemies, how fucking scary Pyramid Head is to this day. Like, imagine running into something like that. Like, it's completely like terrifying. I barely remember the ending. I think I got the leave ending, which, by the way, for people that haven't played this yet, I want to keep this video like spoiler free, so I won't be going into depth about like endings or things that happen in the game. It's more about like what the game is and how it perceives itself, and how at the time it came out, I was kind of naive to what the developers, Team Silent at the time, were the kind of story they were trying to tell. Because I remember being very confused. I remember meeting the human people that you meet throughout the game, and just kind of thinking like, why are they there? Why do they not seem, terrified? I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, right? And those situations were wrong place, wrong time. Like first Resident Evil, for example, it was their job to go investigate the mansion. Resident Evil 2, one of my favorite games of all time. Wrong place, wrong time for Leon and Claire. Like, Silent Hill, like, I don't remember the first one even less than this one, but it's kind of like this. That's what separates Silent Hill from like other survival. I'm not even gonna call Silent Hill survival horror because it's not. It's more just straight horror, action, psychological. It's just very different in the horror genre, and it was a pioneer of other games to come, later on. But I remember like finishing the game and not really understanding everything that happened throughout. But so the reason that when this was announced, I decided, in the past, when remakes, we get a lot of remakes these days, and a lot of remakes are about to come out. But the remakes that we've gotten, in the past few years, I kind of knew like the back of my hand already. So when a remake's announced, I would be like, oh, perfect timing, like to go back and, play the original, to see how it kind of stacks up when the remake comes out. So I did that, with like Resident Evil, like the Resident Evil remakes, Dead Space. I just replayed Metal Gear Solid 3, because Delta's coming out. But like at the same time, like I played those games so much throughout my life that they were, even when the announcements of like the remakes were made, I had already like remembered those games like the back of my hand. Silent Hill 2 is a very different one because I only played it once in 2002 when it originally came out. And when this got announced, I was like, oh, all right, well, I think I'm just going to take a different approach because I don't remember it really that well, other than what I laid out earlier. But I want to see how it makes me feel playing the remake, right? And I'm glad I did because it kind of opened my eyes to what I didn't understand about it, years and years and years ago, right? I was 16, maybe about to turn 17 or so. And, I was in a good place in my life. I hadn't experienced loss or tragedy or mental health problems or anything of that nature. And those are at the core of this game. Those are the themes of the Silent Hill franchise, really. And 2 years later, something happened in my life where things started to change for how I thought about them. Not to say that I was a naive teenager or anything. I had like some repression. I lost my father when I was 2 years old, and it didn't hit me because I was so young. It was just something that like kind of happened in my past, so I didn't have any like thoughts of any mental health issues, and that's kind of like the main purpose of this video, is to like anyone with mental health issues, and I know there's a lot of people out there. That's kind of the themes of the Silent Hill franchise as a whole, and I understand that now. And without going into too much spoilers, it's kind of like facing your fear or facing a tragedy that has happened to you, or somehow to like get over it or get through it. And like, James Sunderland, like, without spoiling anything, something happened to him that he repressed, and he willingly came to Silent Hill to try to figure out what that was. And by the end of it, you'll figure it out. It's very left up, like up to interpretation. I think that's why there's so many endings of the game. I remember when I originally played it, and this scene right here, this is so well done. I really love this scene, just to point it out. But I'm really glad I didn't replay the original, and I own it actually. I have the horrible remaster of 2 and 3. But I also have a sealed copy of the original Silent Hill 2 on PS1. But I'm so glad that I didn't replay it, because it made the experience of playing this version so much better, because it was like a whole brand new game to me. As I went through it, I started to kind of like remember things. It was more about the locations and the enemies and the human characters, but it made me realize what Team Silent was actually trying to like convey. It was almost like a redemption arc that doesn't pan out, or does. There's no real definitive like, what actually happened in this game, and I feel like that's kind of the way with all the Silent Hill games. I barely remember Silent Hill 1 and 3, even though that's a series, like I think I played through each one of them one time apiece. Even the newer ones, the last couple, Homecoming and Downpour. And I remember like generally liking those, because those came out after the traumatic thing that happened to me. It wasn't even a traumatic incident. I don't want to sound like something crazy happened. When I was 19, I had my first panic attack, and nothing triggered it. I don't know why. But I had a pretty like not good upbringing, and I don't want to say that in like a super negative way. It was just the cards I was dealt, what happened throughout my life, that things that didn't affect me at the time when I was young, but then as I got older, I guess subconsciously I started thinking about them, and so much so to where I ended up having severe social anxiety and bouts of depression and things, and that's what this game like thematically is about. And I don't want to stray anyone away who hasn't played this, that has those types of feelings, or has been diagnosed with those issues. I just want to like make it known that it's unique in its own way, and it actually is kind of like comforting to go through these games again, and it helps, and it's not going to help everybody, so I don't want to like recommend it to everybody, but at the same time, like playing these types of things, watching movies that deal with similar themes, they can help you to get through it, and if anything else, you relate with the character, and that's kind of like the message I wanted to relay here in this video. Other than that, it's a fantastic remake. They defied the odds, and I hope we get more of them. I'd like them to remake all of them, really, to be honest. And so that's going to be it for this video. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We've got a lot more content coming, and thanks as always for you guys who have been here that are watching, and Applerski out. See you on the next video.